This is Jose Melgar, and I am a volunteer at the Pasco Hernando chapter of SCORE. I will be hosting the webinar today, and I will start sharing with you some information about the SCORE that I find that is of importance. About the SCORE, as I mentioned before, we are an organization of volunteers, and we are in all the US for over 60 years now. And we try to give help to small businesses, sharing our experience. All the volunteers have been in business for more than 20 years before being accepted at the SCORE. And all our services are free. Mostly what we offer is mentoring one-to-one. So you can ask a mentor to be with you for as long as needed at no charge. And we also guide businesses for planning and provide webinars and workshops like the one today. So we are partially funded by the SBA. So we have certain links with the operations with SBA, even though we don't have access to funding. Now let's talk of what is the material we have for today. I have chosen 5 challenges I think the small businesses face during the first year of operation. During the last 12 months, I had 150 sessions with different businesses. And mostly the problems they brought to me is what I prepared to discuss today. Of course, this is a lot of material, and maybe 1 hour will be a short time, so I will try to explain as well as I can. So my name is, again, Jose Melgar. So I have chosen these 5 challenges. And of course, number 1 by far is not enough money. Small, medium-sized, or big companies are always struggling for money because money is not free. And we will address what really is the funding available and to evaluate if we can be eligible to receive part of that. Number 2, people complain about sales are not growing enough to keep the business profitable. So we expect that business would be at this sales level in 1 year, 2 years, and then it's not happening. Sales are stopped. So we will evaluate the reasons and maybe some actions we can take to correct the situation. Then, one important part of the problems is poor execution. We make a plan, then we don't follow through. We will see what happens because of that. And some discipline we could take in order to correct the situation. And number 4 is the fatigue that the owner, the sole proprietor of a business, faces after 2-3 years working 365 days in a year. So we will see what is the impact and why that is the main reason for the death of businesses, is that the owners get tired of too much work. In the end, something that all of the 150 visitors were lacking is networking. We focus on work very hard and trying to keep the customer happy, and we forget about this important part to make our business successful, is networking. We will explain what is the meaning and what kind of networking is important for us. So let's talk about the first challenge. So it's never enough money. So we will always be trying to stretch the dollars. We will try to make ends meet, and we will always be short. So some of the comments when I start asking the visitors, show me your plan. And they say, I started without a plan. So that is the number one failure. We started the business without a plan, but we are already there. Then, yeah, I had a plan, but I didn't consider all the expenses that were needed. So I am short because of that. My plan was not good enough. Another point would be, I had a good plan, but now the inflation is eroding, is eating me. So now the costs are growing so fast, and maybe I will not make year of life for my business. I need help to find sources of funding. I need to know where I can access. Certainly, as I said at the beginning, money is not free, so we will evaluate the sources of funding and see if we can reach them. And one important one is, because I always ask for financial information, and people say, I don't know how to prepare a cash flow projection. I cannot operate a business without a cash flow projection. I cannot, simply cannot. It's like trying to live without breath. So we will show a very, very simple example of a cash flow. This is what I will cover in this first point. So what are the options for funding? There are 5. With the fingers of a hand, what are the options? Number 1 is to use our own money, the savings of the owner. So I am working for several years, so the savings of my life, I am now planning to buy a business, and I will fund it by myself. I will owe nobody. So that is number 1. Gift, somebody gives you the money. So my rich uncle died and he left me money so that I will start a business. Or a girlfriend, is a rich girlfriend and she is going to fund my business. So if you don't have a person who is willing to give you money, so this is not something that we can in a score recommend, but that is one of the ways to fund the business. Then we go to investors. Why we go to investors? Because if we go to a bank, the bank will charge interest. If we go to investor, they become part of the business, so there is no interest. But they will have part of the profits and will be part owners of the business. If they fund the total of the business, then I become an employee of them. So if I am going to look for investors, I have to be very careful. How do I deal with the proportion of investment I will be willing to accept to still keep control of my business, to still keep control of the destiny of my investment and not becoming an employee of the investor. Then what is left? Grants. Many people come to SCORE asking for grants. So I will explain briefly. I will give a detail of what is a grant, what are the conditions, and who is applicable for that. In the end, I will be talking about loans and also how, well, an example of cash flow. So grants, many people ask about this. So the sources for grants are 2 main sources. By far, most of the money is funded by the government. 70% or more of the grants are coming from the federal government. They have billions of dollars available in grants. But those grants are not for everybody. There are certain conditions to apply for that. First, grants are for non-profit organizations. So the non-profit organizations should have a mission. And mostly the missions that are preferred by the grant donors are for poor communities for children that are without protection, for single mothers, or for the environment. So if I have an organization that is focusing on grandmas taking care of grandchildren that are orphans, maybe I find a grant that will help my operation. So my operation needs to be aligned with a need in the community, needs to be identified, and needs to be at least 2 years of experience. So during the last 2 years, I was helping the grandmas in my zip code, and now I need funding to grow. So then I demonstrate to the grant donor, I say, I have been doing this for 2 years, and these are the numbers. I have helped 40 grandmas, but I can help 300 if you give me money. I need $100,000. So I need to demonstrate that. And in the end, I need to understand that grants work in form of reimbursements. So I will say, I need from those, when they grant me $100,000, they don't give me a check for that. So I will say, for the first 2 weeks, I need $15,000. So they give me that portion, and then I demonstrate how I use that, and then they keep reimbursing it until the 100,000 is completed. But they follow how I use that. This is how grants operate. So if we feel that we can participate in those, this is the way to get ready for that. First, I need to identify what is the need I am going to help. If my organization is dedicated to help stray dogs, I cannot ask money to help kids. It needs to be aligned with the purpose of my organization. When I have identified that, then is when I search for grants. Then I register with the federal government and with the providers of grants. So there are many foundations that have money available. So I will need many, many hours of looking for that in their website in order to find what grant match with the purpose of my organization. Then I start applying. So the main source to know about that in the government is this grants.gov. There is a link. So if we click that, we would access this to the federal government grants. This is the website. So the same for the foundation directory. We can access through the Google search foundation directory, or we go to this link that I mentioned here. Then when I am registered and I think I can apply, I need to pay attention to the guidelines. So they say what is needed, what documents I need to bring, and I have to bring all, 100%. I need to follow the instructions, and I need to be punctual. If I present my application 5 minutes after the deadline, I will be rejected. If I present my documentation with 1 document missing, I will be rejected. And my application needs to be clear and to the point, not generalities. So roughly this is, there are many people that are professional writing grants for a fee, but these were the general information I wanted to share about this source of funding. Now let's talk about bank loans. In order to look or plan in my business to be funded by banks, I need to prepare in advance. I need to plan how I will work my way up to be eligible for a bank loan. So I need to build a relationship. I need to visit the bank manager. I need to be in contact with them, that they know how my business is progressing, in order that they get familiar that in any moment I will come asking for a loan. I need to take care of my credit score. So nobody will lend when my credit score is below 650 points. So that is the threshold. So the higher, the better are my chances. Again, they will ask for experience for 2 years in business to show that my business can survive. They don't want to lend me money, and then in 9 months, my business is broke and I cannot repay. So I need to demonstrate that my business can survive by itself, and that this loan will make my business grow. If I am less than 2 years in business, I will need to personally guarantee with other assets. Another mortgage on my home will be a kind of collateral. So the bank will always be looking for ways to recover the money they are lending me. And of course, there will be a lot of documentation I will need to bring. Business plans are mandatory, credible business plans, projections, balance sheet, and always cash flow. Cash flow is that will show how the money comes into the business, what do I spend every month, every week, and how I am going to repay the loan. So I will show a chart. It's a very simple chart, but it's just to give the idea what is expected to demonstrate as uses of funds. This is one example of a cash flow. So let's say that this business this is the first month of operation, and the business has a cash at the beginning of $2,600. This is what the owner puts for the first day. So then the projection, this is a projection, has not happened. It's what I think will happen for the year. I expect to have an average of $14,000 per month in sales, but some of the sales will be in credit. Not all we pay in cash at the moment, because let's say this is a bakery and I am going to sell my product to Publix, to other supermarkets. So, and they will not pay me the same day. They will pay 2 weeks later or so. So at the end of the month, I will still have some money to be collected in the first 2 weeks of the following month. That is why that is not cash I will receive this month, but the next one. So then this is the average. I am projecting that I will receive $177,000 at the end of the year in total, and this will be month by month. How will I spend the money? So all these lines, I will have to pay my suppliers of materials, of flour, of oil, all the ingredients I need. And then sales tax. When I sell directly in the counter, I will have to collect sales tax. Then I will pay that the following month to the state. Payroll. I have some people working with me. So in the end, this business has to pay $57,000 in payroll and rent. So roughly, I would say this is how I will be spending money month to month. So then the first month, I need to pay $24,000 in equipment. So I need equipment to start operating the business. So I will be receiving that with 30 days credit. So I need to pay $24,000 in January, $6,500 in February. We see that then the following line is in credit. I don't have that money. So the business is not providing enough money for that. That is why I need to come to look for a loan. That is the other line, the bank loan. So then I ask the bank, I expect they will lend me $44,000, but I will not take all of that at the beginning because it will start gaining interest. So I only need $32,000 the first month, and then $12,000 in 3 months. So you see, January and March. So then When I receive that injection of money, I end the month of January with 8,000 in cash. And that is my starting for February. And then I keep the operation like that. And then in May, I start repaying the loan. So I show the bank how I expect to be paying $1,000 every month. So then the $44,000 at the end of the year will be 36,000 because I have already paid some through the months. So this is a simple cash flow projection. This is something that if I have a business, I'll be actually evaluating and reviewing every week, because the worst thing for a business is to get out of cash. Being out of cash means bankruptcy. This is the direct way to go to bankruptcy, not having a projection, detail where is my money come from and how I will be spending that. So certainly, this is a simple example. And if we are going to start using this kind of projections, we can ask somebody from a SCORE to help us to provide that, or the accountant that prepares our tax returns can help us to prepare one. But this is one way to face the problem of always being out of cash. Let's talk about the second challenge. My sales don't grow. So after several years, I am still selling the same amount. So there are several reasons that could happen. But I would say that one important reason is when I am depending on one client. If that client doesn't grow, my sales cannot grow. Another one is I don't have a sales plan. How can I grow if I don't have a plan? And if I don't have a marketing strategy, how will I make the public know that my business exists? How can I get other sales? So let's talk about depending on few clients. So if I depend on one client, so then I am not a business owner. I am independent contractor of that client. It's like I'm an employee of that client. It makes life easier. It's good to have a good client. Let's say that Amazon is my client. I dedicate all my life to work for Amazon, so I am happy. They pay me a lot, I make money, but I cannot grow if Amazon doesn't grow the portion that allocates to me. And if Amazon decides that they will not have the supplier in that area and will go somewhere else, then I am in the air. That is the risk of depending on few clients. So the solution for this would be diversifying, have more clients. But if I depend on one, that client could become angry and say, oh, I don't want you to split your efforts with other clients. I want you to be dedicated to me. So this is something that we need to think about, and we need to prepare a strategy to exit the current situation. Let's talk about plans, because many people say that they don't have a plan. So I will ask this question. Have you seen anybody building a house without a plan? I would say that in the last 300 years, nobody in the US has built a house without a plan. There are too many risks, many things that you don't know will happen during the construction. And is also a large portion of my net worth to be risking without a plan. There are so many details. Somebody told me, working without a plan is like driving a car with my eyes closed. So it's impossible. So then I would not build a house without a plan. why would I start a business without a plan? It's the same thing, too many risks, and is all the savings of my lifetime are there. Why would I do that without a plan? I compare the sales plan with this chart. We go to a dealer and we see a car and say, oh, how beautiful. So leather cushion, leather seats, a very nice dashboard. So it has all the new trinkets in the industry. But an experienced driver will go to ask about horsepower, about transmission, about size of the engine, about fuel efficiency. So this is the sales plan. We can have a general plan for my business, but the engine, the motor that will make my business go ahead is how do I sell? How do I make money? So if we don't have a solid sales plan, all the rest of my plan is just appearance. Doesn't have a solid foundation. So some tips if we are preparing a sales plan. I need to choose who will be my initial customers. So I need to have targets. I need to know where, what location will I be selling, what age, who is my market. And then I will use different sources to make my business known, to reach those potential customers, to say, hey, I am here. So please understand that I will be visiting you soon in order to look for sales. Another tip is the owner of the business must do the first sales. We cannot delegate because I need to start knowing my customer and knowing the feedback from my customer. I cannot depend on anybody else to have my first customers. Then when I know, when I understand how they make decisions, how to buy, then I can multiply the number of salespeople. I need to learn the customer buying habits, and then they can bring repeating purchases. Let's start with the list. I need to identify all the positive things I will be offering my client in order to make my business attractive. What makes my product different? I cannot say, I have a bakery. There are thousands of bakeries in Florida. So I will say my bakery is specialized in French pastry. You only find this pastry in Quebec, Canada. And this is the only place in Florida where you can find that. So what is different? Why people should come to my bakery instead of all the other choices that they can have? So I need to look for something that makes my product or my service different. How they will benefit buying from me? Because I give them fast service, I give them special attention, I give them my cell phone so they can call me at any time. So what do I have that will make my business attractive? I have updated equipment, so I will give better product and price advantage. In the end, do I have a strong website? And then can they place the order directly in the website? They don't have to wait until my business is open in the morning, so they can order during the night. So those are advantages. I need to look for those advantages and prepare a list what I will be offering to my prospective clients. I like these golden rules said by Paul Krugman. He is a Nobel Prize in economy. And he points to these two important things. When I sell something, so every time I sell one item or one service, in the mirror, there is a purchase also happening. So the other side of the transaction, the buyer, is also having a transaction. I cannot think only from my side. I need to think from those two sides. I need to understand how the buyer made the decision to purchase that. If I understand that process, I can make it repeat. And the other golden rule is that people will be always looking for advantage. So I will attract clients by showing that there is an opportunity. I have a discount. I have something that will make it more durable. What is the opportunity they can find buying from me? If I find those two things, I have better chances of increase my sales. I will talk about this sales funnel. This is needed. This is mandatory to prepare a sales plan. You see that this chart is similar to a funnel. So it's wide in the mouth and is getting narrow and narrow and narrow. That is why it's called sales funnel. Because mostly the people decide to make a purchase first by awareness. When they are aware that the product exists and that somebody that is supplying that exists. So I need to make people aware that my business exists. Then they have consideration. They say, okay, I know that this business exists, but is that the best one for me? Does the product has a good price? So all the details about that. But first was the awareness. Then they make the consideration and then they make the decision. Okay, I will buy from them to try. I will give you an example. For these kind of webinars, we send 4,000 emails every month, telling 4,000 people that what is the program of webinars for the month. From those 4,000, we receive about 80 visits to our website. And then from those 80 visits, we receive about 40 participants in the webinar. So this is the funnel. Start with 4,000 to reach 40. And we know that is the process. So then what is the conclusion? That my strategy should be attacking those steps. First, I need to attract people to my website. It's a big error that people start by building a website and expecting that the customers will appear just because of that. You need to bring people to your website. So then you send, before you send flyers, you send emails, you use Facebook, you use LinkedIn, you use many ways to tell people, go to the website. So that is the awareness. Website is the second point, is the consideration. After they are in the website, they decide, okay, this is the webinar. Then they decide if they will attend or not. That is how we prepare our sales plan. And then if we understand this, we can see why our sales are not growing. So modern marketing requires a website. You will bring people there. It's like the counter. So you attract people to enter your store and see what I have in my counter. My counter should be nice, should be clear, and should be transparent. That is the importance of the website. So we need to invest that we have quality online resources. Because if the website disappoints the people that receive the 4,000 emails, so then all the effort is for nothing. Then the other challenge is the execution. So we had a mentor in a score. They helped me to prepare my plan. We have discussed all the details and so on. but then we don't follow through. The execution of the plan was not top-notch. So what is execution? It's the ability of an individual to perform the task without repetitive mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, everybody. The idea is to learn in the process, so very soon those mistakes will be almost nil. That is the goal. But I cannot be permanently repeating mistakes. I cannot be inventing every time. So when I have a plan, I have to implement it. A plan in the drawer of my desk is nothing. It's time wasted. What if I have doubts? So I have been working with a person that is having a very, very nice project, very attractive project, very innovative project, and is progressing. However, every 3 weeks or so, this guy calls me and says, what if we are mistaken? What if this is not the best plan? So doubting yourself is something that will make you change direction and will be an error. That is one way not to do the execution. No. We need to be very clear in our plan and very clear that we will follow through. We cannot be reinventing every time. And also, some people are always balancing, okay, giving this quality is too expensive. But if I don't give quality, I will not grow. What do I do? Quality or growth? So if you have those doubts, then you have the answer why your business is not growing. What can we do to correct the execution? I will share with you this process that many big companies follow. This is taken from the US Air Force, because you know, they need to train the pilots to have flawless execution. You see those pilots that go in the demonstrations to inches from the other plane because they are trained to do perfect execution. If they have doubts in the last moment, they will die. So they follow this process. And we use this in several big companies in order to make it happen. So we start with the plan at the left. And then we brief all the people involved. Everybody in my business needs to understand how we do things. Should be very clear. Ask all the questions before. When everybody is clear, then execute. Then after we execute, debrief. We cannot forget about calling back the people. Okay, we did what we were saying to do. What happened? How did it go? And then we win, because next time we do the cycle, we will do without the errors of the past. The debrief is the thing that will take the errors from the system. So now we will do it better. So then we debrief, and then we do it better. Then we debrief. That is how we improve the execution. In order to do this, we need a mentor. We need somebody to help us, to guide in the process. And of course, it's a slow procedure. But that is one of the things that make business fail, not following through. So important is to get a new perspective. So change the viewpoint, like having new lenses. I see the world differently now. This would mean changes in the way I do business. Now I listen more to my customer. Now I listen more to my staff. Now I delegate more because I don't have 4 hands. Now I have a mentor that I discuss every 2 weeks with them. Now I have all of these things. Number 4, fatigue of the owner. This is the main cause of business failure. Businesses that are going well, suddenly they stop because the owner cannot cope with all the work. I have seen people coming to me saying that they want to sell their business. One business that is making $150,000 a year in profit, they are willing to sell it by 100,000, by less than 1 year profit, because they cannot cope with all the work. They don't want to be waking up at 3 a.m. every single day for 365 days. So they say, I am making money, but I am tired. I cannot live like that. So then what is the error here? Is no time management, no delegation. And then the stress this person lives is terrible. And worst, the business cannot operate without the owners, because all the decisions are always made by one person. It's the one-man band. So business must be able to operate when the owner is on vacation, when the owner is sick, or when I want to sell the business will not be depending on me. If not, nobody will want to buy it. It will be a good business, a great business, but nobody is willing to buy it because it is depending on one single person. So we need to learn to establish priorities and let go what are repetitive activities. Create calendars and stick to that. Follow through, delegate. Work in the business or work on the business. If I work in the business, it's like the one at the left. That person buys the materials, brings the kiosk every day, sell to the people, get the kiosk home every night. So everything is one person. So the other person is working on the business. He's making contact with customers, making contact with banks, making contact with potential buyers. So he's working to grow the business, not working in the business. It's a different approach. And the last one, challenge, that nobody talks about, but for me is one of the most important, is networking. So I am a hard worker. I have been doing this for years, so I know how the business works, but I don't have networking. So I cannot be expected to be expert in all the disciplines needed. I cannot be accountant, marketeer, operator, everything. There are always people that know things better than me. So I can hire part of time of those people or be friend with those people and share my expertise with theirs in order that at no cost, I can have a better networking. Of course, I need good networking with customers, with my employees, and some professionals like bankers, accountants, lawyers, and SCORE mentors. So all this list, I need to prepare my team and meet with them every 2 months, every 3 months, whatever. Not all at the same time, but keep the relationship in order to have more ideas, better ideas, how to grow my business. So this is what we mean reboot our business. So push this button in order to have a better view of my operation. So then I need to review my goals, my plans, ensure that I have cash management, that I will manage that from now on, ensure that my business can operate if I am on vacation, and create an aggressive sales plan. And I will start building my support team through good networking. So I need to challenge myself to think bigger than what I have been doing so far. So if we are ready to do it, don't do it alone. You don't need to do that if you have some resources that are available free of charge. Reach to a mentor at SCORE. If you are in the Pasco Hernando area, this is our website, www.pascohernandoscore.org. So this is a resource that is at your fingertips, is at reach, and you can have a mentor one-to-one assigned to you. At this point, I am open to questions, and I will be discussing whatever you have presented here. Okay, the consideration step of the sales funnel, what is meant by finding leads? So leads are customers that you still don't know they exist. Let's say that I am planning to sell some material for the soil that will help the environment. I have the material, I have good technology for that, but who can buy it from me? So I need to find leads. I need to find somebody to tell me, okay, go to the parks in California because they are willing to buy that from you. So those are leads. They are not customers. They don't know my existence, but somebody tells me, go there. So that is the thing. When I send information through Facebook, I use Facebook to create leads, to create people that say, oh, you know, this guy is offering something that could be of interest for you. Why don't give him a call? So those are leads. Somebody that is not buying today, that doesn't know about us, but could be a prospect. Well, at this point, I appreciate your patience. I really appreciate that you participated in this webinar. So please keep reading all the programs that we present every month. So there are webinars every month from our chapter. And we will be happy to attend you if you ask for a mentor. Have a good day.